Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Would you like to hear one reason, a very good reason, that XRP absolutely is going to hit a new all-time high and enter price discovery? You want a good reason that the price is going to go higher? Well, I'll tell you this. It has to do with the fact that any time that XRP has been remotely similarly situated, it has gone higher. I'll explain exactly what I mean by this. And you just got to understand, like, history really, truly does tend to rhyme with itself. And so unless you're some doomsday bear and you think it's all over, we're actually entering a bear market. I mean, if you're right about that, fine. XRP won't then, because it'll move with the rest of the market, broadly speaking. But, if you're not right, the answer is number go up. And a lot. And soon. And I'm just going to tell you this. I am betting on the positive. I do not think this is done. And there are indications things actually are turning around. Actually, sit tight, please, because you're going to want to hear this. You're going to like this. There are very clear indications things are turning around. I say turning around. Now, if you've been around for even if you were here a year ago, you're up substantially. When I say turn around, everything's so relative, right? I mean within the last month or so, X number of weeks, whatever it's been. Turning around from that. The market won't stay here forever, and markets do find local bottoms, and we might have just found it, or we're close. So even if we are lower by the time you're watching this, I just don't think it's going to matter. I think the price goes way higher for XRP. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby. And just for fun. Alright, so here's a post from chart analyst Mustache. And although I'm going to be focusing primarily on XRP in this video, I do want to highlight this first because it makes sense to look for confluence. And obviously, I think it's obvious. If you're brand new, you may not understand this, and that's fine. But just stick around, you'll get it. The market moves in tandem. It just does. Macro environmental factors are an actual thing, as it turns out. So if the whole market is likely to rebound, that is fantastic for XRP. In my mind, it's just the case that XRP will substantially outperform just about every other coin on the planet. At least if you're talking about large and mid caps, yeah. It has been suppressed for years artificially because of the United States government via the SEC, and yeah, it's making a comeback, let's say. I think it's safe to say it's making a little bit of a comeback. So here's the crypto total market cap excluding Bitcoin and ETH. And so that's the total 3 chart. That's the name of the chart. And he said, Mustache says the following: I'm amazed at how quickly sentiment has changed in recent weeks. I only read something like bearish retest or relief rally. Have you ever heard of a V reversal? That's what usually happens in a bull market. If I'm not wrong, the next move will be even steeper. And my friends, that is indeed the case. Things can happen like the snap of a finger. They really can in crypto. It's bad and it's sad and it's never gonna be okay until suddenly, with the snap of a finger, it actually is. And then the market just goes, and then everybody just changes how they feel about things. That's how this actually works here. And you can see, look at what he's talking about. So this is where we are right now. If you're looking at the screen, look right there where the mouse is moving. Look what happened here. This is a similar situation several years ago. Some people were scared at that point, and I understand because that's what markets do to people, make them feel things. You get your feels going on. But then it did rip to the upside, and we haven't had that part of the cycle yet, and I do believe it is coming. Here's a post from chart analyst Crypto Wizard. It's a XRP USD chart. He writes, "Isn't it beautiful? It's repeating again." In 2017, XRP broke a multi-year resistance and never looked back. It is currently repeating the exact same pattern. A new all-time high awaits the patient. Now, this idea is something that I continue to see from analyst after analyst after analyst. The analysts within the group of analysts that I follow, because I think it makes sense to listen to what they have to say, and they were all correct that XRP would break to the upside, and I was already following pretty much all of them before it broke. They were just right. Yeah, they're consistent. Think about that. The analysts who were correct that XRP was going to break to the upside, I can't find... if there's an example, I just can't think of it. I can't find one example of an analyst that was calling for the break to the upside, but now is like, yeah, that was it though. I can't find one. They all are saying the same thing, which is up. It's just a question of, it's a question of degree. How high does it go? Is it to $5, $10, 15, 20, 30 bucks? And you can find some disagreement there, but yes, actually up. And so there's reasons to believe that history is going to kind of rhyme with itself here. And so when a chart analyst like Crypto Wizard shares a post like this with his 108,300 followers, it's for good reason. Broke multi-year resistance, and look what's going on. In 2017, broke multi-year resistance, and there was less history there, so you couldn't look back on a whole lot of data and draw conclusions about XRP's future performance based on that. But now we have 12 years roughly of actual live price data from XRP. So now we actually can, and that's a good situation to be in. And by the way, Crypto Insight UK, he was saying something kind of similar, and I'll be brief with this. I actually shared this in my very last video, but given the topic here, I felt like I got to share this to make sure everybody's seen this. It's on the exact same point here. Look at this. XRP USD chart on your screen here. And this is just to show, like, this is what makes sense. That's why so many analysts that I follow charting XRP, they do believe this. He wrote, "We have only ever seen XRP break and hold above multi-year resistance once. It was 2017. In 2017, XRP was one of the top gainers. Anyone who is telling you any different has a negative bias towards this asset. This is fact, not emotion." Okay, that is spot on, which is why you don't find people saying things to the contrary unless they do have this irrational bias. And if they have a multi-year history of just hating on XRP because reasons, fine. But that's outside of that, no, you don't see that. And so what's the big reason, the one that I was referencing at the outset? Well, it comes from perspective from XRP chart analyst Dom at TraderView2 on X. And he has a fantastic track record. He accurately called this break to the upside, and he's just using common sense, historical perspective, and chart analysis to come to a reasonable conclusion as to what he believes is most probable in the future. And the answer is number go up. Oh yes, if you're wondering if we get one final burst to the upside at a minimum, yeah. And so here's what he had to say, and it's an XRP USD chart on your screen here. He wrote, "There's one reason I will be pretty surprised if XRP does not go higher this year. Read along." And folks, just to be clear here, we're talking about conviction. We're talking about what we suppose is most probable based on historical perspective, and in the case of Dom being a chart analyst looking at all sorts of data and doing actual chart analysis. It's not a guarantee. And any good chart analyst will acknowledge that they don't know for sure if they're right. It's about probability of outcome, and they'll have varying degrees of conviction based on whatever topic it is that you're talking about. But the conviction here is very clearly high. And so this isn't fine. It's not a guarantee, but I mean, if you're playing the odds, my God, it could not be more freaking crystal clear here. And so then he says, every time XRP has historically put in a multi-month or year top, it did it quickly, as shown below. And when he says shown below, it's actually the chart that's on your screen right here. It's just that if you're looking at it in the feed, then the chart would normally be below, but since I clicked on it, it made the chart full screen, and then it's on the left. Anyway, so he says, essentially, it never showed any midterm acceptance at those higher levels, also known as no value agreed upon. So folks, what he's talking about there, and this happens with any asset, when you get this exuberance because people see a green candle and then they chase it, yeah, money flows in and then the price rockets to the upside, and it's not about fundamentals, it's not about rationality, it just is happening. And in moments of exuberance, you get stuff like that. And yeah, I'm waiting, like I'm here for that. I'm ready because I will be unloading my XRP as, the higher the price goes, certainly. But that doesn't mean that that's going to be sustainable. It just is not. However high XRP goes, whether it's 10, 20, 30, whatever the number is, there will be some people who mistakenly believe that it deserves to stay at a minimum at that level in perpetuity, and they're going to be wrong. They're going to be wrong. XRP is going to rocket dramatically. I firmly believe that. It's going to be in price discovery. It's going to melt flip faces. It's going to make so many of you ridiculously wealthy. I'm willing to bet that it's going to be life-changing for a ton of people, including many people listening right now. But to think that XRP will be immune to a correction is just absurd. Of course it will. So when you get those types of gigantic moves, yeah, they go back to the downside. But that's why What is happening right now? That's why this matters so much. That's why I'm making this freaking video. This hot jam just for you. Because of what's happening right, like this is a very clear sign. Check this out. So he says, again, there's no value agreed upon, right? And what he means by that, he's not talking about utility in that end. Just to be clear, he's talking about charts. So the price went up, then it went back down. And so he says the longer price spends time at a level, it's always just reflective of how much market participants agree on that price. This time around, price moved up fast, but nearly 3 months later, price is establishing value up here, something we have never seen at any previous cycle high. We have been seeing range building, acceptance, and volume holding up above $2. And folks, that's in line with the message that I'm in awe of this all the damn time, so maybe I say it too much. I don't know if I say it too much. It's subjective anyway. But just the fact that XRP blasted to a new all-time high, $3.39, and then it, quote-unquote, like crashed down, even at moments briefly below $2, but now it's hanging out over $2.40 as I record this. And, like, that's just, like, a normal price now? That's freaking insane, and I love it. Now, I always believed that could happen. I always believed that was probable at some point, and here we are, and it actually is playing out. Oh, it's just absolutely insane. And so you also do see, like, as the price of something goes up, people that have been around for a while, you're always going to find a certain amount of individuals will sell. And so there's a bunch of people that took profit on the way up, even above $3. And you will see more of that after you have another burst, of course. I mean, I'll be one of the people, I hope, finally selling. Like, I'm here to make profit just like the rest of you guys, right? But what's amazing, again, a lot of people already did take profit, a lot of the trader types, and then it went back down to above $2. This is the part that is unique. This is why I'm making, that's why I'm making this video. And so he says, in all my experience, that is not how tops usually form. Folks, that's the key takeaway. If you're wondering why does it go up? Because this is not how tops are formed. Now, we can't guarantee that, but we're talking about probability of outcome, aren't we? Yes. And so he says, they form quick and give you little time to exit. Folks, yes, that's correct. They form very fast, they rocket, and then that's that. And then you get a massive correction to the downside, and it just stays there until the next market cycle. That's not what we're seeing here, is it? No. We're seeing exactly what we would want and hope for. And so he says, why? Because value was never established up there. Price was never actually agreed upon at those high levels. The current structure looks more like developing balance, which can lead to expansion upward once it's solidified. Hope this makes sense. Oh, it makes sense. Dom, it definitely makes sense. That's what's happened. So the fact that and by the way, so this one really grabbed me, and I hope it kind of hits you the same way it hit me. But there are multiple analysts saying kind of similar things in their own ways, which is why I also first shared this post from Crypto Wizard and then this one from Crypto Insight UK. Like, they're seeing, like, guys, it's consolidating here above what used to be resistance. That's a key takeaway. This is not done. And so if the market rebounds and the XRP is already sitting here before the rebound, what do you freaking think happens next? Price discovery. Life-changing wealth for lots of people. And I hope I'm one of them. I mean, as long as it really does go up there, which, again, I mean, I can't know for sure either. Do I believe that's going to happen this cycle? Yes, I do. I think that's most probable. And that would be life-changing for me. Just absolutely life-changing. But it's real. Like, these are the circumstances we're in. This is not some fantasyland pipe dream type of thing. This is very real life. We've been waiting for years and years and years. And now we are on, like, the cusp of this finally occurring. And it's no surprise that some of the best analysts out there all recognize this idea. Like, they consistently recognize this idea. We are not done. Higher, my friends, higher. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because if anything I say are right, that would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.